Today on Soma Says, I'm joined by MaryEllen Reider. She's the co-founder of Yarlap, a groundbreaking device that helps women strengthen their pelvic floor and reclaim confidence from the inside out. We're talking bladder health, sexual wellness, and why pelvic strength matters more than ever in midlife.
Thank you for being understanding. I very much appreciate it.
Urinary incontinence, especially for females, is something that I never thought I would be focused on as an internist, because when I became an internist, right, my patients tended to be younger. Their bladders were fine. They maybe had one pregnancy, but they certainly weren't in their late 40s or their 50s where these things start showing up. And maybe even earlier, right? As my patients started aging with me, I had to be prepared to obviously talk about these things and then help them through it. And then I came to understand, right, there wasn't a whole lot out there.
Yeah.
And the whole Kegels, right? I don't think I could still do a Kegel myself. I've tried.
It's so hard. It's so hard to do.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a huge difference between practicality of doing them and knowing you have to do them.
Yes.
And then actually implementing that and doing them properly, because those are all three separate things. And so that's why the Yarlap was created and why we've gained so much traction, is because it just does those three things for you.
So I understand you work with alongside your father, right?
Yes.
What inspired you and your father to start this company? Like, what was the inspiration behind it all?
So my dad is the medical device engineer. So he's like the brains of it all. He does my medical device engineering. He's done that for about 30, 40 years. And he was on the design team that designed the sister of the Yarlap for the national healthcare systems of France, Scandinavia, Great Britain, and Germany, to tone those pelvic floor muscles. And then when I graduated college, I didn't know what to do. I was interning for Women International, and I was like, I'm going to do something with women's health, women's rights, something like that. And I was like, do I have the thing for you? And he was like, you should look at urinary incontinence. And I told him, absolutely not, hard pass. And he goes, no, sir, like, I feel like you don't shy away from hard topics and you really like to tell everybody to sit down and listen. I think that we might have something for you. And so I kind of put away my pride and said, okay, what do I know about urinary incontinence? I know it's for old women and they're in diapers forever and it's so boring. And then I did my research and realized that was such a horrible misconception.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a horrible myth and it's totally and I spiraled into this like ball of fury. And about a week later, busted into my dad's office and was like, we need to change the United States of America's like healthcare perception on this. We're going to do it. Gear up, guns blazing. And he was like, this is the energy we want, but maybe not at 8 o'clock in the morning. And so that's how we started to work together. And he brought me in on what the FDA compliance for getting that approval was. And that is so hard. And it takes so much time, effort. Maybe people have this misunderstanding that FDA clearance is given to anybody and that you can wake up one day and declare that you're an FDA cleared device. And the FDA puts a stamp on you and you're on your merry way. That's not how it works. It's actually a multi-year endeavor.
Yeah.
Thousands of pages of paperwork, clinical studies. It's not something that you wake up one day and decide you're going to do. You have to put in a lot of effort and brain power, time, and paperwork understanding to get that FDA clearance. So when we say we're FDA cleared, we wear that with a badge of honor because it was really difficult to get.
I'm curious, how long did it take to get clearance?
For us, I think it took, I believe, 5 years
Okay.
for us to get that.
Okay.
And I was very lucky not to have to be bogged down with all of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It is a lot. We have in our, behind me, I'm sure you can see all the paper, like all the boxes. We have like boxes filled of like our FDA compliance. It's so many shelves. It's
Yeah.
so many shelves. And yeah, it's like when it comes to FDA clearance and compliance, they don't joke around. It's
Yeah.
very strict on what you can and cannot say, what you can and cannot do, and even just getting that clearance.
Yeah.
And we're an FDA-cleared medical device. We're class 2. There's 3 different classes, and we're class 2. And
Okay.
it's intense. It's really...
It is. It is. I know what it's not because I've discovered or invented any medications, but I know how long it takes for medication approval, and it's all sorts of stuff where we wait forever for the
Yeah.
FDA to clear it. I'm curious because you and I started off talking about our impressions of what incontinence was for women. And it sounds like we had a similar belief system about it. And it took me getting older and my patients getting older to really realize, okay, I was completely incorrect. 1 in 3 women experience urinary incontinence, and that's a shocker to me, especially in midlife or postpartum. And a lot of them never get any treatment. So what does Yarlap, right, set out to do for these women in terms of improvement, in terms of teaching them, right, the correct technique of Kegels? What have you and your father set out to do here?
Yes, we bought into the myth, I think, that it's just for older people. You're stuck with it. It's like part of this chapterhood of being a woman that you just have to suck up. And in reality, that's not the case. It affects anybody with a pelvic floor, man or woman. It doesn't matter what age you are. It depends on that tone of that pelvic floor muscle. And a lot of people believe that those Kegel exercises, it's a one size fits all. You need to do them constantly all the time. But that's also not always the case. It can also be from a hypertoned, very clenched pelvic floor is what also lead to that. And you need to learn to relax and massage those muscles as well. And so there's like a full spectrum of too tight, too loose pelvic floor muscle tone. And we as women know something's up when we accidentally pee ourselves. Like we know that's not normal. But then when we bring it up, we're usually told do Kegel exercises, and then we're given a pamphlet. I'm speaking on behalf of my own experience postpartum, given a sheet of paper that says how often to do them. And basically it was a 5-minute appointment, and I was on my way. I was fine with that because I got cleared for exercise, and I knew from Yarlap I'm fine as long as I use my yard.
Okay.
After I'm cleared for exercise. And so what we created the Yarlap for was there's a huge gap between knowing you have to do these exercises and then actually doing them, and then doing them with the proper protocol.
Yeah.
So just like any exercise, if you're not doing it properly and you're not taking that protocol seriously, you're not going to get the benefits that you're reading about or you've been told about. And with written instructions, well over 50% of women who try to do Kegels do them incorrectly because these muscles are isolated. We cannot see them.
Yeah.
See if we're clenching them properly. If we're clenching for too long or too short, how often am I supposed to do it a day? Do I do it every day? The Yarlap bridges that gap, and it does everything for you. So it tells your muscles the proper instruction from the device to itself into those muscles with clinically preset programs. So you're not worrying if you're doing it too much or too little. The Yarlap takes that guesswork away. It's not wondering if you're doing it properly or if you're clenching your pelvic floor muscles. The Yarlap's doing it and sending that signal directly.
Okay.
And it takes away any guesswork. So it fills that gap of, I know I have to do it, and I have done it, and I've done it properly. And I think that's the big thing is most women don't do it properly. So the Yarlap bridges that, and it fills that gap. And for women who are like, I want to learn how to do it properly, the Yarlap tells you. So you know what that feels like. You know what that muscle movement feels like. So when you're not using your Yarlap, you can still self-initiate and self-engage, and you know what those muscles are supposed to feel like. So let's say you're using your butt or your thighs or your abs. You're not using your pelvic floor, or you're not engaging all of the pelvic floor. You're engaging part of it maybe, but with the Yarlap, you're engaging the entire pelvic floor throughout the entire duration of that exercise. And then when you're trying to do it by yourself, you know what that engagement feels like. To work with a pelvic floor physical therapist, because they're able to see their patients once a week, most commonly once a month. And they want to make sure that those patients are doing the instructions they've been told to do properly between those appointments. And so what they do is they tell them to get a Yarlap so that between the appointments, they know that they're doing the exercise, whether that is massaging them and relaxing them or Kegels. And they're doing it properly so that you're not taking one step forward, 3 steps back every appointment. You're taking one step forward every single time. And you're able to work side by side with your clinician, with your patient. And so again, there's like another gap that we fill.
Walk me through how the Yarlap works. Is it inserted into the vagina? Is there an app that's used with it? How does it work?
Yeah, so we do not have an app. We are big into total privacy. We don't collect any data. We don't do anything. It's total privacy. I think I have a PC stimulator to show you, but the Yarlap, it's a tiny little control unit like this. And then there's a PC stimulator that is, here we go, right here. And that's inserted into your vagina like a tampon.
Okay.
And it sends a gentle signal into your pelvic floor muscles for you. So when you're telling your pelvic floor muscle, naturally you're sending a signal from your brain to your pelvic floor. And sometimes that gets jumbled. Sometimes it's like, we don't know, again, with it being isolated, we don't know if we're actually using those muscles. And so what the Yarlap does is it takes the signal from the control unit, like how your brain does, but it sends it directly to your pelvic floor muscles. Okay. So your muscles are moving as they are supposed to do, but that signal isn't getting lost because it's directly put in.
And what does that feel like? Neuromuscular electrical stimulation.
It's similar to TENS, but it doesn't block pain because we don't want to block pain in your vaginal area. Yeah, we don't believe in that. But it depends. We get a lot of different feeling reports. So most common, people are like, it just feels like a muscle movement. It doesn't feel like anything weird. It's super comfortable. It just feels like a muscle movement. And some people say it feels like a firm handshake. Some people say it feels like a butterfly.
Yep.
Butterfly sensation. It's comfortable.
Okay.
It's comfortable. Okay. We've actually had some women who call us because they're panicking. They accidentally took a nap while it was working. Okay. And we're like, there's so many safety features in it. Like after it hits that 20-minute mark, it actually turns itself off. So even if you took a 1 hour nap, it just hasn't been doing anything for 40 minutes. You're fine. Don't worry about it. But it's super comfortable. It is gentle. And I think that's part of the success is that it's so customizable for every vulvovaginal sensation that we don't have people who are worried about using it because it's customizable. It's not like a one size, one sensation for everybody. That comfort level is completely customizable for that specific person.
Okay. Got it.
And like where they are in their pelvic floor journey.
Does someone on your end help them figure out how to set it, or does the pelvic therapist, floor therapist do that with the patient? How does that all work?
Yeah, they can. We do. All in your user's manual. So I think most of the time the woman is able to do it on their own. They just press the plus button until they feel a movement, and then that's it. Take your hands off and let the Yarlap do the rest. Some people do it with their physical therapist. That way their physical therapist can note their number. Some people if they do get confused or they're not sure or they want somebody to walk them through step by step, we do that with our customer service. We do have people who will walk you through it step by step to make sure you're using the right program and if you're using the right level of power. But it's It is very simple and very comfortable. I'm going to
Okay.
keep using that word because I don't know another
Right.
for it.
No, I think that's a great word.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's just pretty intuitive. You just turn it on, pick the program, and then pick the comfort level. And then the Yarlap literally does the entire thing. It does the timing for you. It does the pattern for you. You just sit there. That's it.
And it's cleared for the stress, urge, and mixed incontinence, meaning both stress and urge, right? So is there a time period where a patient uses this device and then they're better, or perhaps they need to keep using it because this is not something that necessarily gets permanently fixed? So do they continue using the device?
They can.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're cleared for stress, urge, and mixed. And you get the results that you're looking for to treat it through muscle tone. And once you get to that point of bladder control that you like, you just go into maintenance mode and you can use it once a week or once every other week, once a month, depending on your lifestyle. So a lot of people, they just want to keep using it as is, and that's great. And then some people just want to use it once a week or once a month, and that's fine. But it's just like any other muscle. You want to make sure that you use it before you lose it.
And yes, that's what I was asking, because I couldn't imagine, right, that there wouldn't be a maintenance mode just because of the nature of the issue itself. So basically there is maintenance. Okay.
Yeah, there is. So you go through treatment, and then you go into the maintenance. And the maintenance is just you use it as you see fit. So usually it's once a week or once every other week. Some people just do it once a month, but it really is just dependent on you and your lifestyle and that tone of the pelvic floor.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of people who are just like, they build it into their routine. They don't want to mess with that routine. And it works. They've got pelvic floor control. They no longer pee themselves. They're just going to keep what they know is working.
But what are some of the contraindications to using the Yarlap device? Like if someone has a pacemaker, or I can't think of anything else really, or if they have very advanced prolapse, an infection, if they're pregnant, are these all reasons not to use the Yarlap?
So if you have the only contraindication for the Yarlap is if you have a pacemaker. If you have a pacemaker, you cannot use it. Anybody else, you want to talk to your doctor and ask about an NMES device and see if that's appropriate for you to use. For pregnancy, we shine postpartum. That's where we really shine, because again, that was like the sister device for the Yarlap, is that postpartum pelvic floor rehabilitation for the NHS over in Europe.
Okay.
And we see a lot of baby shower gifts. We see a lot of people who are like, use it after you've been cleared for exercise. If you've been told to do Kegel exercise, been told to relax those pelvic floor muscles, the Yarlap's the perfect tool for you to have because it's going to do it all for you and you don't have to sit there. For me personally, postpartum, I was so overwhelmed. Trying to keep my head afloat, care for this like new life that is completely dependent on me. Like I don't have time to sit and fully concentrate. Look for me in silence to feel my muscles. I just don't have the time. And so that for me, that was when I really started using the Yarlap, because I was like, I know, because I work in it, I work for Yarlap, I do all this stuff. I'm like, I know this is the time where this is our bread and butter. Let's do this. And, that was really nice. Is like, I could sit there. At one point, I remember laughing until I cried because of the image that I think my husband saw, which is me breast pumping up top, doing my Yarlap at the bottom, just sitting there, like watching New Girl. I was literally just sitting there watching my comfort show while I was hooked up to 2 different machines. And I'm like, this must have been such like a weird image to walk in on. I'm sitting on the couch, sitting on a towel on the couch, just like completely naked, just pumping away and doing my pelvic floor exercises. And he's just like, all right, great. You do you. Whatever you gotta do to keep your mental health, your physical health up, I'm here for it. But I was like, this must have been such like an odd an odd image. And I remember just laughing because I was like, I'm hooked up to 2 different machines.
Yeah.
Doing everything for me. It's great.
What have you seen like the most wins in terms of the types of incontinence? Is it the postpartum stress incontinence that you were talking about? Is it more the menopausal incontinence that women get as the estrogen declines down in the vaginal urethral area? Where do you see the biggest successes?
If I had to rank them, it's really hard because I think in the past 5 years, so we've been out here for 10 years, and I would say that there's been a huge shift in women's health. Like there's been like an actual spotlight on it in the past like 3 to 1 year.
Yeah.
Before that was like menopause. Women who were just like, I'm 60 and I'm done. I'm done laughing when I'm peeing. I'm done being the butt of the joke. I'm done with the kids saying how mom peed herself when she laughed. Done. Let's do something. And I remember just like constantly being on the phone with women who were like, oh, I've had it since my first kid or second kid who's now 35. And you're like, so you've had it for a while.
Yeah.
Let us help you out.
Yeah.
And then postpartum women who are like, this doesn't seem right. This doesn't seem like I'm asking like my mom if this is normal. And she's saying, yeah, it's just like a chapter of motherhood. I'm looking online and they're just like, it's part of being a woman. It's part of that badge of motherhood. Like that doesn't seem right. And then like with the access of like social media and stuff, people are like, yeah, this isn't right. This is normal. And so I would say like menopause and postpartum are almost even.
Okay.
Because of the awareness.
Yeah.
But we also get athletes. We get a lot of people who are very active and very proactive about their health. Here, we get a lot of yogis who are very into it and they already know all about their pelvic floor because that's the root and they're very aware of what to do and everything like that. So I would say it really is
Yeah.
those two. And definitely, I think menopause, the attitude has changed. I would say, like maybe not the number. I think I would be split 50-50 for like postpartum and menopause, but the attitude I think has been more like, this isn't normal. I'm done.
Yeah.
Let's do something. Whereas previously there was a lot more shame around it.
Yep.
When they would ask.
Definitely.
And now it's just, this is what it is. What do we do? I'm all in. Let's do it.
The way I practice, right before I would be like, okay, time to see a urogynecologist, time to see a urologist. But now I reel it in a little bit more and I ask them more questions, obviously, around their hormonal status and all of that. Are you using vaginal estrogen? And educating them about why it's important to use the safety of vaginal estrogen and perhaps going through pelvic floor therapy, perhaps having them see a UroGYN if needed. These are things that I didn't necessarily do before. And what I've realized is this one thing, this incontinence, whether it's stress or mixed or urge, it puts women at risk as we get older for recurrent UTIs, for falls as we get older. Because if you can imagine an older woman who's rushing to go to the bathroom, there are more falls. It's more than that. It really affects our whole health and our safety as well. And those are the things I did not appreciate until many years into practice. How do you suggest integrating Yarlap with some of the things that I've talked about, like bladder training and estrogen therapy, perhaps pelvic floor therapy? How do you talk about that perhaps in your advertising or pitch to other clinicians who use Yarlap for their patients?
Yeah, the Yarlap does do that. Let's say you have somebody and you're like, they need to do pelvic floor exercises. Let's try to do them on your own. And then we'll follow up maybe in a month or so. And there's just absolutely no difference because, again, it's just so hard, especially as women, to do these exercises. It's so difficult. And then that's kind of like where we come in, where self-initiated ones are doing the trick, or like maybe it's moved the needle in the right direction just a tiny bit, but they swear up and down that they're doing the exercise properly because they probably think that they are. And that's no shade to like anybody who's trying to do a self-initiated Kegel exercise. They're extremely hard to do. And most women who try to do them, they end up clenching, like I said, butt, abs, or your inner thighs. And if you're engaging any of those, like you may be connecting with the pelvic floor muscles, but are you connecting them in their entirety with the proper strength for the right amount of time? You have to genuinely sit there and really think and engage those muscles with purpose every single time. Basically, who has the time? So that's where we come in is you've been told to do Kegel exercises. Let's do them properly. Let's do them together with the Yarlap.
Yeah. Okay.
Like put it into hyperdrive and make sure that you're getting the benefits that you're reading about. We have women who have really atrophied pelvic floor muscles. We've had some women who have had absolute no control of their pelvic floor muscles for like decades. I remember one specifically like for 40 years. And by the time she talked to us, she had no control, and she would only know that she's gone to the restroom when she changed her pants and had to change her diaper because she had no control. And even when she tried to do those pelvic floor exercises, it wasn't happening. She just had no control anymore.
Oh.
And so that's where the Yarlap, again, can fit in beautifully is that, okay, you have severe atrophy. That's okay. The Yarlap's still going to send that signal into your pelvic floor muscles. It might take a little bit longer in that rehabilitation timeline, but you're still getting the benefits. The Yarlap's doing that pelvic floor exercise for you. You're still getting that instruction and that protocol that your licensed healthcare professional wanted you to get, even though it's not your self-engaged one. It's a device sending it into it. And we have people who are like, they use it alongside with their estrogen cream. They just wait the day after. So that estrogen cream isn't all up inside there.
Okay.
And they just wait till the day after and then they use it in the morning.
Okay, got it.
The only contraindication that we have is no pacemaker.
Okay.
If you have a pacemaker, you cannot use the Yarlap.
Okay.
But we have people who report that they use it with their estrogen cream. They just wait until the next morning. But it's all about building that tone again. And if you've been told to build that tone, the Yarlap is a great tool again to have because it does that for you. We've seen and had a lot of reports from clinicians that like they want to make sure that what they're being told, that what the patient's being told to do is actually getting done. The Yarlap is just essentially the training wheels to make sure that they're not falling off on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can feel my future perimenopausal and menopausal women listening very carefully to what you're saying. Right?
Yeah, because you have that like huge hormonal shift.
Yeah.
You have a lot of that. And you're already dealing with so much. And then and your body's on fire. Basically.
Yeah.
And then everything is now shifting. And then now you're peeing yourself again. And it just feels like blow after blow. What do we do? Our thing is like, tone those pelvic floor muscles. They need the assistance. They need the help. And if we can be that tool, if we can be that help, absolutely. Jump on board. Welcome to the fam.
Yarlap is over the counter. You don't need a doctor's script for it. And can women use their HSA, FSA cards or whatever programs to get it?
You can use your FSA. It's FSA and HSA eligible. We do that every single day.
Okay.
Sometimes I think it's so funny because we'll get that or can you do payment plan? Yeah, we do. If you do need to have it broken up.
Yes.
Right now. Yeah, we offer that as well.
Okay.
If you have insurance, we don't bill insurance in the office. We're a small little company. So we don't have anybody who bills insurance in the office. We have people who do self-claims. And so if you're wondering about that, you can call your insurance and see if you are eligible through a self-claim. But yeah, HSA, FSA, we do that every day.
And you talked about one woman who had lost total control of her bladder. What's your favorite patient story that allows my listeners to feel some confidence that they can have some control over this, like when they're traveling, when they're exercising, when they're being intimate, that may inspire them?
So you asked for one. Can I give three?
Okay.
They're all separate and I'll make them all quick. But my favorite, she was the nicest woman. And she was in her 80s and she would call us regularly, like once a month. I think it was because we were the only people who she could tell like vulvovaginal sagas too. And that was fine by us. Sure, absolutely. But she was like in her 80s and she got one she would urinate at night and she, like, no control.
Okay.
And she fixed that. And the Yarlap actually does help with sexual performance and expression. And that ties in with this, is she was all of a sudden like, I orgasmed for the first time in 15 years.
Oh my.
And that was our reaction. And we said, oh my gosh, hey. And she goes, doing it all the time. And we're like, are you serious? Like, for you. And she goes, let me tell you a story. And we're like, oh, okay, this is going to get very intimate. Okay. And she goes, we went to grocery store shopping and we turned into high school sweethearts again and did it in the back of the car. We had this 80-something woman who's telling us that she's going back to her sweetheart days, doing it in the back of the car at the grocery store parking lot. Like, how phenomenal is that? That was, I think that is like the greatest story. Like, just that she got her confidence back. She got the pelvic floor tone back. She got her bladder control back.
Yeah.
Orgasming. Like, that is so wonderful. That is so great.
Yeah. And it tells you, like, all these muscles, they're not just used in isolation to urinate. They serve a broader purpose.
Yeah.
And a lot of these things that happen to women as we get older, it's all connected.
Yes. And your clitoris runs along your pelvic floor muscles.
Yes.
Like when you're orgasming and you feel that pulsing,
Yes.
that's your pelvic floor muscle contracting.
Yes.
So when you have that ability to clench and relax at a higher level, you have that intensity response at a higher level.
Yeah.
So the other one is a friend of mine, postpartum. She was on her second, she had a shower, like a sprinkle. And she goes, I had for like marketing, I had a USB on my keychain for my car. I had it so I would never forget it. And it was a PowerPoint of the pelvic floor muscles, what they look like, why they're so important, and all the different spots, right? It's not just the G spot. There's like the O and all these other spots. And she comes up to me. She goes, hey, do you have that PowerPoint? And I was like, yeah, I do. I was like, do you need it? I can email it to you after the shower. Not a problem. Yeah. And she goes, no, I just talked to like my mom and she's really curious about it. And then my mother-in-law is also curious. And then my grandma definitely needs to hear about it. I hooked my computer up to the TV. You want me to do a PowerPoint at your baby shower on the pelvic floor right now? And she goes, yeah, you have the little thing. I was like, okay, sure. So in the middle of a baby shower, instead of doing baby shower games, I gave a presentation of the pelvic floor muscles and why they're so important to a group of women. And it was so wonderful because they were all like asking questions at the end.
Yeah.
They all had like very personal anecdotes that they wanted to share. It was a hilarious situation. One of the grandmas actually bought it from me afterwards. So I need to have your email. We really do need to talk. She ended up getting one. But that was like another one with what my job is.
Yeah.
And everything is I became the girl who would give presentations at baby showers was the second one. And then the very last one is a quick tidbit, but it was a woman and she needed to be able, she was going to Ireland. And she needed to, that was like her first post-retirement celebration.
Yeah.
And she had been peeing herself and she knew she had a time constraint between each incident.
Okay.
And she said, I'm going to go on this excursion. I've paid money for it. And we're going to go see, I think it was birds.
Okay.
See birds. And I don't want to miss a single thing. And I don't care that I have 45 minutes between things. I need to up that. And I need to make sure I can sit and I can enjoy and I can get my money's worth on this excursion. And I'm doing something every day up this cruise. I said, okay. And it was like 6 months ahead of this thing. What do I need to do? And
Yeah.
by the end of it, she's, I'm bringing this with me on my trip. She says, I can go on this. I can go on an all-day excursion and I can hold it. If I need to wait for a bathroom, I can wait for the bathroom. If it's a 2-hour excursion, I can wait. That's not a problem anymore. This is what I needed because now I don't have to like basically bathroom her entire vacation. I loved that. Just being able to be part of that story of like freedom of her own personal jail at that point was so great. And like it's a part of like something she had saved up for and that she was so excited about and being able to like give that to her. It was just great.
Yeah. These are the stories that we don't really hear about, that we don't appreciate until we have a mom who tells us that she can't go on a trip because of the urinary frequency or the leakage.
Or you can't go on a road trip because
Yeah.
there's not enough stops or
Yeah.
not enough restrooms on the way
Yeah.
there. Like, what about if I have an accident or something?
Yeah. Yeah. No, again, like, these are not things that I appreciated, admittedly, but I certainly do now. You may see a good amount of people looking into, after listening to this podcast, watching it on YouTube, reaching out to you.
Absolutely. I would love it. I talk to people about their vulvovaginal areas all day, every day.
Yes.
Totally welcome that conversation.
This was not only fun, but it was very educational. If they wanted to look into Yarlap for themselves, where do they go? Do you and your dad have any influence in terms of social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok?
Yeah, if you want to get a hold of us, you can go to our website. It's www.yarlap.com. Got a bunch of our information, and you can write us a message, send us an email or something like that. We're also available on Facebook and Instagram, and then newly on TikTok because of our social media intern who is having me constantly send her videos of doing random things. So if you're on TikTok, you can also catch us on there
as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Talked about a lot of important stuff, right? Is there something we haven't touched on that you wanted to make sure gets included in the podcast?
No, I think the big thing I hope everybody takes away from this is that the bladder control leaks isn't just a chapter, or it's not your new physical quality trait that you have to carry on for the rest of your life. It is treatable. You just need to have the right resources and tools, and your doctor or your physical therapist, they're working with you.
Yeah.
They're your partner in this. And in that same vein, so is the Yarlap. And if we're part of that journey, fantastic. If you get that another way, okay, great. I just want to bring that statistic of 1 in 3 women way down. It's way too high.
It's way too high. And here's the other thing, I don't think I talked about this, is that there are medications for overactive bladder and incontinence and all of that. But unfortunately, a lot of them do have side effects. I'm not knocking medications, but especially for older patients, that it can be an issue in terms of feeling sedated. They're usually on a bunch of other medicines. So the side effects tend to also be more, that for them as well. So I think this is a great option, maybe alongside medicines if they really need it. But I think this is a great way to get treated, right? And that's why I was very carefully asking you about what it felt like, because I think that's the biggest probably hesitance.
What is it going to do to me? Is it going to stimulate? No, it doesn't stimulate.
Right.
It really you just sit there and it's like any other muscle movement. It's just a pulse.
Yes. So I think that's the biggest impediment for most women. They don't want to feel pain down there. But the way you've described it is clear that it's not painful. It's not painful. And
it's comfortable. You try it.
Yeah.
Try it. Yeah. But we offer a 60-day money-back guarantee. If it's something and you're like, yeah, this isn't for me, we have a very generous 60-day money-back guarantee. But most people, once they get it and they build it into their routine, it's like best friends forever.
Right. This is great. I loved it.
I really enjoyed it as well. Thank you so much for bearing with me and talking to me about this.
Yes.